So this is the Varieties of Gender Expression, Finding Individuals in the Categories by Alex Brosius and Risty Duran.
So according to our textbook, they define gender expression as, quote, the way people fulfill expectations about gender through their appearance, behavior, and interactions with others. And so here's a short clip on an example trying to explain the difference between gender identity versus expression.
In order to get on the same page about LGBT youth homelessness, let's first talk about the differences between sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. They are all different. We think of each existing on a spectrum. Being on a spectrum means that there are more than just two ways to be. There's a whole range of ways to be. Sexual orientation describes an individual's emotional and/or physical attraction to another person or people. Gender identity refers to a person's innate identification as a man, woman, neither, both, or some other gender. A person's gender may or may not correspond to the sex assigned to them at birth. While gender identity is someone's understanding of their own gender, gender expression refers to the way that a person communicates their gender to the world. It includes all of the external characteristics and behaviors that are socially defined as either masculine or feminine, such as dress, grooming, mannerisms, speech patterns, and social interactions. Social or cultural norms can vary widely, and some characteristics that may be accepted as masculine, feminine, or neutral in one culture may be assessed differently in another. It is important to note that someone's gender expression may or may not align with traditional perceptions of gender identity. Again, gender is a spectrum. It's important to remember that there are more than just two ways to be.
Okay, so the history behind gender. Up until early last century, men and women were still considered to be opposites of each other. They were each two separate halves to create a completed whole of balancing gender expectations. It wasn't until the 1970s when the feminist movement influenced these views, and psychologists aimed to rebrand the concept of masculine and feminine from being opposites. So here are some examples of ads that express gender roles from the 1950s.
And then here are some more modern day examples of people breaking away from gender roles today. So here's a few different celebrities. The first one is Sam Smith, and they're a British gay non-binary singer. Ruby Rose is an Australian lesbian gender fluid actor, and Janelle Monáe is a bisexual non-binary singer and actor. So in 1974, Sandra Benn created the Benn Sexual Inventory. And in this study, participants rated a list of adjectives on whether they felt more masculine or feminine, such as examples including competitive, analytical, self-reliant versus sympathetic, gentle, and compassionate. And from this exercise, researchers created a four-dimensional plane with the x-axis representing low to high feminine traits and the y-axis representing low to high masculine traits. In the end, the four categories resulted in masculine, androgynous, undifferentiated, and feminine.
So here's an example of the chart from the text. It shows the spectrum of masculine to feminine traits. As you can see, if you have a high level of both masculine and feminine, you're considered androgynous, and if you have a low level of both, you're considered undifferentiated. So how does androgyny relate to relationships? The text says, due to being less constrained by societal expectations of gender, androgynous individuals display various positive character traits. Individuals who are androgynous tend to have higher levels of self-esteem, lower levels of anxiety, and higher levels of emotional intelligence. Androgynous individuals also tend to express their emotions more easily and adapt to their emotions accordingly to situations. So these all seem like desirable qualities to look for in a partner, right? Research has also shown that androgynous individuals are more confident in their relationships. So, in conclusion, don't feel constrained by gender expectations.